In my previous videos, I presented undeniable evidence of life after death and explained where we go afterward. I also clarified what dreams truly are and revealed the tragic consequences faced by those who commit suicide, even after their death. Additionally, I shared a few of the many NDE, near-death experience, stories I've gathered over more than 20 years of researching the phenomenon of death and life beyond the physical body. If you haven't watched them yet, I encourage you to click on the name of my channel in the video tab, where you'll find all the content I've created so far. In this episode, however, I want to talk about the importance of deeply realizing that one day we will die. Let's begin. Death is a topic that evokes reluctance, fear, and sometimes even terror in many people. We avoid it in daily conversations, try to ignore it, and escape from the thought that the inevitable moment will one day come for us as well. Death may seem distant, abstract, something that happens to others but not to us. Yet the truth is, none of us can avoid this ultimate experience. Death, like birth, is an inseparable part of life, and awareness of this fact can profoundly impact how we live our days, the decisions we make, and the values we choose. Avoiding thoughts about death leaves us completely unprepared when it arrives, whether in our surroundings or in a personal context. Realizing our mortality and understanding that death can come at any moment not only helps us come to terms with the topic, but also allows us to better understand life. While this may seem difficult, deep reflection on death is not terrifying if we view it as a stage of a greater journey. Modern culture seems to impose the belief that youth, beauty, and health are the only values worth attention. Advertisements, social media, movies, and television programs focus on the joys of youth and life, while death is almost absent as a topic. Thinking about death seems to challenge the illusion of continuity and safety we try to build in daily life. However, the more we push away thoughts of death, the more fear it may evoke within us. Fear of death and passing is natural, deeply rooted. It is, after all, a confrontation with the unknown, uncertain, and incomprehensible. But instead of fleeing from this thought, it is worth approaching the topic of death consciously and trying to come to terms with it. When we begin to understand that death is not only an end, but also the beginning of something new, our approach to life can change completely. Understanding that death is an inevitable part of life offers a new perspective on daily living. The more consciously we approach this subject, the less frightening death becomes. Accepting the fact that life has an end allows us to live more authentically, in harmony with our values and needs. Realizing that any day could be our last changes how we approach daily matters, our relationships with others, and our priorities. People who have come to terms with their mortality often say they begin to appreciate every moment of life more deeply. They stop postponing the pursuit of their dreams, pay more attention to their loved ones, and take better care of their mental and physical health. Instead of worrying about trivial matters, they focus on what truly brings them happiness and peace. Death can come unexpectedly. This is an inevitable truth everyone should acknowledge. Understanding this reality need not be sad or paralyzing. It can be a motivation to live life to the fullest, to deeply experience each day, and to seek fulfillment that does not depend on how long we live, but on how consciously we live it. One reason why the topic of death causes anxiety is our lack of knowledge about what awaits us afterward. Many religions, philosophies, and beliefs have sought to answer this question for centuries. Some believe in eternal life, others in reincarnation, and still others think that after death, we return to unity with the universe. Modern research, as well as accounts from those who have experienced near-death experiences, suggest that death may be a transition that allows us to continue existing in a different form. Understanding that after death, we do not face a void, but rather another stage of the journey, can help us come to terms with thoughts of passing and leaving this world. For many, understanding that death is not the end, but a transition to another reality, brings relief and allows them to view life with greater perspective. The thought that our physical body perishes but our essence, soul, consciousness, endures helps overcome the fear of the unknown. Death as a passage to another dimension of existence opens up new perspectives for us. Our life on earth becomes one stage, not the only finite reality. Such awareness can liberate us from fear of the unknown. If we deeply realize that we will continue to exist after death, our everyday choices and decisions take on a new meaning. We stop seeing life as a constant struggle for survival and begin to treat it as an experience preparing us for the next journey. Preparing for death does not mean rejecting life or giving up dreams and ambitions. On the contrary, it is a way to live more fully, with awareness and depth. Contemplating death can bring numerous benefits. First, it allows us to appreciate moments we often take for granted. Awareness of death makes us more present, less focused on the future or the past, and more on the present. Second, it brings peace and calm. Instead of being paralyzed by fears, we become more open to what life has to offer. Reflecting on our mortality also provides a sense of inner harmony. Coming to terms with the fact that our earthly life is finite enables us to focus on what truly matters, rather than on fleeting pleasures and material ambitions. Death ceases to be a taboo and becomes a topic that enriches and teaches us acceptance. Knowledge about death and what awaits us afterward is available to anyone who wishes to explore it. Conversations with people who have experienced near-death states, literature, films, and articles can help us better understand the subject of death and passing. Often, avoiding this topic is the source of many fears and anxieties. Therefore, it is worth turning to available resources that can help us see death as a part of life. Accepting the thought that death is merely a transition, not a definitive end, can have profound significance. In this way, death stops being something terrifying and becomes a stage of transition to something new. When we realize that a further journey awaits us, life on earth gains deeper meaning, and fear of death gives way to curiosity. If you want to learn more about what awaits us after death and how to prepare for this journey, I invite you to read my book, where I have shared the knowledge gathered over 20 years of research and personal experiences. That's all for today. Thank you for being here, and see you next time.